Hello, everyone, and welcome to another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, Dave and TJ. Today, we're going to be talking to you about Monday Night Raw from May 19th of 2025, so a couple days ago. And we'll have a little bit of news action after that. As usual, follow us on all of our socials at OvermarkENT. And we're going to jump right into it here. We got Monday Night Raw with an attendance of 9,812, and they were set up for 10,008. Said 196 available tickets. This was according to WrestleTix. So pretty
It's the
close
same
to a
amount.
sellout, if not.
It's always like
Yeah.
200.
Yeah, they either sold out or they didn't, but it was damn close. And they were at the Bon what the fuck arena? Bon Secours
Wellness
Arena.
Yep.
That's an arena in Greenville, South Carolina. And man, they had a hot crowd tonight. They were.
Yeah, I was like really surprised by that. Like generally, I feel like any time that they've gone to South Carolina, at least when I was watching more back in the day, it was like a terrible fucking town.
Yeah.
Like not just like the whole state. But I mean, I guess
North
that's not the case
Carolina
now.
usually is better than South, at least on television. But yeah. So well, why don't you jump us into this first part here?
All right. We got Logan Paul here addressing his championship match. He opened up Raw to loud boos. They did a little video package highlighting some of the whole Jey Uso stuff with the World Heavyweight Championship and everybody. But after that, Logan Paul came out and opened up Raw. Loud boos. He's always got that. Grabs a Prime Energy drink, mocking the crowd with his signature cockiness. Declares it's a fact that he'll beat Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event and return next Monday as the World Heavyweight Champion. He starts listing facts, and he was saying Jey Uso's the current champ. Yeet. Jey chapped out Gunther at WrestleMania. Logan won a singles gold 12 years faster than Jey. Jey can't handle the pressure of being champion. He's focused on everyone but him. And Logan has knocked Jey out 3 times and will again. Then we get Gunther's music. He interrupts, comes out. The crowd reacted to him kind of, positively for the heel he's supposed to be. And he notes that Logan seems confident about beating the man who beat him. He gives Logan credit as a self-made digital mogul. Says that Paul should be respected for his success and work ethic. Acknowledges Paul is good for business, but says that Paul, this is business, while to Gunther, this is personal. If Logan wins, Gunther sees it as disrespect and warns him. Asks Pat McAfee what happens when non-wrestlers disrespect him. Says that he sees no heart in Logan's eyes. Warns Paul that if they face off in Phoenix, all his fame won't save him. And then Gunther will eat him alive. And then as Gunther was leaving, Jey Uso came in up behind Logan Paul and drops him with the super kick. His super kicks, like always, just look terrible. Got a huge pop. And then on the mic, he said, "Fact, I'm going to see you on Saturday. Gunther, I'm going to see you in Phoenix." And 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. It was good. Logan Paul's good for the role that he has. It's easier to play like a cocky heel type guy than it is like a face, and he's got it down pretty good, and he's decent in the ring. So it's cool that they have him up in the World Heavyweight Championship scene, and he probably won't be there that long. But this is just they have these PLEs basically on Saturdays now, and the Saturday night main event's kind of like an extra one. So you'll see guys that normally wouldn't have that shot. I feel like kind of shoved in as like Seth Rollins is like feud A, then Logan Paul's been like feud B for a little while.
Yeah, I like how there's layers to what's going on. It's not just one guy and one guy. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean they do that a lot anymore. AEW tries to do it too, and sometimes they're successful at it. But this stuff's pretty simple, so I mean, it's how could you fuck up something that's as straightforward as like 2 matches, and one's gonna have a pretty obvious conclusion on Saturday, and the other one will continue, right?
Yeah.
But what'd you think?
And I mean, this was good promo work. Logan Paul is getting better. I mean, he was already good, but you can tell over time that he is improving. So as much as everybody wants to discredit him and shit on him for not wanting to be a wrestler his whole life, like some people, he does a good job. Gunther was great. I liked everything that he did this whole episode. We might see him again later. Who knows? But yeah, it was good stuff. That super kick's not great, but the rest of it's good for the most part. Yeah.
Was everything okay? Would he stub his toe or something?
Yeah, I think that when he was getting into the ring, he kicked the steps.
And he yelled that out.
But yeah. So anyway, we'll move on, and the next segment we get is they show a backstage deal, and Roxanne Perez is signed with Raw, so she's officially on the main roster now. Raw GM Adam Pearce officially signs Roxanne Perez to the Monday Night Raw roster. She will be in a match this evening against Becky Lynch and Natalya in a Money in the Bank qualifying triple threat match. So instantly in a high profile match. I mean, she's been in high profile stuff the whole year, so we were kind of wondering when they were going to bring her up. Anyway, this is awesome. I've been a Roxanne Perez fan for a while. I think that she's going to do big things, and we're on the ground floor here, so to speak. What did you think about any of that, TJ?
That's what we were just talking about, like about a month and a half back when we first started talking about how they were going to get rid of some of the females, and that did happen, and how they're going to bring in the new crop of females, and that's starting to happen. They're going to sign Mariah May probably, I figure, here soon, so she'll probably pop up too, and hopefully some of the chicks that just aren't as entertaining go away, and Nia Jax isn't going to be one of them, but maybe we can get old Dewdrop out of there, and we'll at least get some kind of net positive. But I mean, they definitely have some chicks that are there just because their time in the company or maybe who they're related to. But eventually that's going to fade out, and it's looking pretty good for the chicks over there compared to how they've been in the past. I mean, they're definitely probably at the brightest spot that they've ever had in women's wrestling, I'd say. And
it's an insane place right now.
And it'll probably only get better for them. They got a lot of other chicks coming up, and Sean and Hunter seem to be working pretty good at. It's the women's wrestling is just a little bit easier than the guys to some extent when it comes to them just being smaller, and as long as the person who they're teaching kind of clicks and is coachable, they can just seems like they're just going out and trying to pick like attractive smaller chicks, and then there's no in between, or they're just fucking gigantic. But they're going out and just finding them and getting some some training under their belt, and
yeah, they got a pretty stacked roster down at NXT of both sexes right now. It's looking pretty good. I actually caught some of Tuesdays.
When you look at like who all they signed, like they beat AEW to Julia, and who was the other one? The Spanish chick.
Oh, Stephanie Vakir.
Yeah. So they got those.
And she even wrestled for them at Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
didn't she? Yeah, she wrestled Mercedes.
But what I'm saying about that though is like they've gotten like the better signings. Then they took in a couple of AEW's chicks, and I'm sure AEW's going to take some of their chicks that they just let go, and they'll probably find success there because a lot of those chicks are more polished than a lot of the girls over in AEW. So it's everybody probably wins. They're just pumping out talent, and it's just mainly because the women's scene it just went through a stretch where they weren't really producing talent, I'd say, and then it was very limited if they did, and now they're just seeming to kind of find whatever success they needed to make that happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's I don't know what to say. I'm blown away at how good of a spot that women's wrestling is in. I know that we've been saying it a lot, and we'll probably be saying it a lot for the next 5, 10, 15 years, however long these people's bodies and careers hold up for. The future's bright at a minimum for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and they got Rhea Ripley. People are really into her.
Yep.
So it's looking good for them. But we'll go ahead and move on. We got old Jey Uso and Paul Heyman in the back here. It's the World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso walks backstage and crosses paths with Paul Heyman. This was pretty cool. Heyman says that Logan Paul likes facts, but Heyman facts come with wisdom. People say he betrayed Roman Reigns and CM Punk, but betrayal requires dishonesty, and Heyman is being honest now. Heyman drops several facts. Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker is happening tonight. The World Heavyweight title is not on the line, something Heyman never allows unless it's earned. Breakker isn't after the title. He's here to disrupt Jey's momentum. Logan Paul and Gunther are short-term problems. The long threat is Seth freaking Rollins. As he walks off, Heyman mutters, "The coffee is terrible." Yeah, he tells him don't try it. But this was
Michael
good.
Cole agreed with him that the coffee was terrible too. It was funny,
but it was good for what it was. Just a quick little backstage segment to further the stuff going on and later in the show. And both guys involved are people that you'd want to see, and this is the kind of stuff that Paul shines at. So they can put him in as many spots in the show as they want, basically, and anything that he pumps out is just pretty much pure gold. So you can't really get offended with Paul being on the show, and Jey seems to work in whatever they have him doing too. So it's something that you'd like, right?
Yeah. It's a quality backstage segment. Wasn't too long. Got to the point. Told the story that it needed to tell, and got you to move on. Kind of like what you want a good short to do on YouTube or something.
Yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the main event set, which was tonight's main event. Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker, which they just said that's what came out of that. But why don't you take us to the next actual match that happened here?
So we get a tag team match with the tag team that you didn't know that you wanted to see, and after we saw it, we were it was pretty good. Penta and AJ Styles versus Finn Balor and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day with Carlito at ringside. And before we get started here, like I was saying, that was not a pairing that you would expect, and I don't know, they worked really well together. I don't know if they've forgive my ignorance of not knowing every match that every dude has wrestled everywhere, but I don't know if they've ever teamed up before or not. They worked well. Two veteran dudes anyway that attacked team. Anyway, the match starts and AJ opens up against JD. They do technical chain wrestling and some transitions into fast counters. Styles gains control with a clean drop kick and tags in Penta. And then Penta hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on JD and Balor somehow. Oh, yeah, they did one and then the other. Styles and Penta then clear the ring and hit stereo planchas before the break. That was a pretty nice move. During commercial, Carlito cheap shots Penta, giving the Judgment Day the edge, and Balor and JD isolate Penta with aggressive tags and mask-ripping taunts. Penta turns the tide with a reverse sling blade and tags in Styles. Styles hits a flurry, including a calf crusher and a sit-out facebuster on JD. Styles lands a reverse DDT moonsault to the outside, which was super nice. When TJ and I were watching, we commented on how nice of a move that was. That you don't see a lot of that. And then he was blindsided by Carlito into the post. And then we're getting near to the end of the match here. The crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." Got a hot crowd the whole night, pretty much for every single match. There was only a handful of times that they were pretty quiet or silent, and we'll talk about that at some point. And Styles and Balor wipe each other out during the chant. We got Penta and JD tagged in. Penta unloads with a Hurricane Rana, a super kick, and a near fall off of the sacrifice. Carlito tries to interfere. Styles takes him out with a flying forearm. JD hits suicide dive on Styles, only to eat a Mexican destroyer on the floor from Penta. It looked really good, and it also looked like he almost kicked AJ in the balls when he landed. Out of nowhere, El Grande Americano attacks Penta from the crowd with a headbutt using the loaded mask. Balor hits a coup de grace on a dazed Penta and pins him. So the finish is the loaded mask headbutt from El Grande Americano, and the winners of your match are the Judgment Day. And this was a really good tag team match. We've been kind of less than stoked on tag team matches as of late. This one was pretty good, I thought. I don't have a whole lot of input on it other than that. You heard everything that happened, and I kind of gave my input as we went. I don't know. What did you think of it, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, it's AJ Styles is like a, excuse me, like a pretty cool like barometer for like what most people I feel like would say like a good wrestler is today. You know, like you look at his size and his height, and like he's a smaller guy in WWE. But if you put him over in AEW, he'd be about the same size as everybody else, maybe like an inch or two taller, but he'd be like way more muscular than they are, right? But
Get him out there with Adam Cole.
yeah, but I mean, he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Like he probably has been for like the past 15 years. Like he's really
going to go in like 5 or 6 Hall of Fame someday.
Yeah, he's like really good at everything, and pretty much I feel like anything that he does has been entertaining. I've never seen anything that he's been involved with that's been bad. He's even when they gave him stupid shit in the Vince era, he'd still do really well with it, and Vince clung to him right away, and was having him win the championship and shit. And you remember his debut at the Royal Rumble was like a huge deal, but
he got a huge pop, and Vince wasn't sure if anybody was even gonna know who he was.
But my main point here though was that like compared with somebody like the Bucks or whatever, and like people throw stuff around like, oh, like they're like the greatest tag team of all time or whatever, and it's just like I know that one's a single and one's a tag teams, but like compare the two guys and compare skill and body of work, long time draw, and like just what he's done, and it's like there would be no comparison where those two would fall in comparison to each other. There's no fucking comparison, so like when you just want to talk about like not even like a listing, but just like skill for skill, it's not even fucking close, and it's just like I said, it's just really cool to use AJ as a barometer for how good people are, because I don't think he's a guy that people really look at like that often, but like he's that guy. He's really fucking good. And no, this is a good match. He could do this with anybody. Penta's really kind of like perfect for the WWE style. It seems like he came over and adjusted really well right away. And
instantly,
he does the. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. Let me rephrase that. I wasn't the biggest fan of his shit in AEW, and I wouldn't say that I'm like a big fan of him now, but I definitely don't mind watching his matches. His matches that he has now, I feel like when he actually takes his time, lays shit in, it really highlights how good it looks, and when you don't overdo it, he's doing really good work. So, I mean, it's overall good match. Nothing to really negative to say here. McDonough is a great little chicken shit heel, and he just looks fucking strange, and Finn Balor's good. He always has been. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, what happened next?
So, it's the Io Sky interview, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, she was doing an interview. Kathy Kelly. Isn't it funny? Like, you got like two first names there. But Kathy Kelly interviews...
It's like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Wonder what her middle name is.
Women's world champion Io Sky. Ask how Sky feels about Money in the Bank winner potentially targeting her. Sky says that she'll be ready for anyone. Becky Lynch walks in, interrupts, reminds Io Sky that she's never beaten her one-on-one. Says she's already took down one champion and she'll do it again. Lynch walks off towards the arena. We're got a match about to happen here. Cameras follow Becky Lynch as she walks through backstage to the tunnel, through gorilla position and out under the stage. I like that shot a lot. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they always make gorilla look fucking nuts. But anyways,
I like the glowing lighting and atmosphere.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a Vince thing. It's like, oh man, I just want to work in this environment. But up next, Becky Lynch and Roxanne Perez versus Natalya. This is the first time she's been on TV, WWE TV in a while, right?
Yeah, she's been doing some different things. I know she's on the Busted Open channel or program now, and she had a pretty good match in NWA like a week ago. I actually caught the match on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw some weird thing like on her Instagram story. I think she followed some really like small YouTube channels post that they put on there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know either. They must have made something pretty cool that she liked for them to her to do that.
Yeah, but anyways, where are we at? So,
well, that happens. Like that, she goes out to the ring. It goes to a commercial, and then we get a backstage segment before the fucking two backstage segments essentially.
This messes me up every time that it happens because you're reading it and you're like, wait a second, and that's not even how I remember this shit playing out in my head. But or when I watched it. But backstage, Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. Logan Paul's on the phone, annoyed, saying that he wants to go home. Seth freaking Rollins walks up with a smirk and delivers a warning.
We don't have to say freaking every time, even if it's in the notes, man. Fuck that.
Well,
Vince McMahon's not yelling at us.
I know. I kind of like saying it. It's funny. But
well, yeah, say it if you want to. I won't stop you.
He says that Jey Uso will be hurt tonight for getting involved in Rollins' business. Whether Jey walks or leaves with a stretcher, he won't be 100% for Saturday. Logan has the advantage heading into the title match. Rollins teases a future title match. If Paul beats Jey and Gunther, Rollins will be waiting. Suggested WrestleMania rematch. This is time for the World Heavyweight Championship. Logan Paul. He leaves Logan Paul to think about it. This was a pretty cool little thing. It's just like the thing they had earlier between Jey and man, what the fuck is wrong with me today?
I don't know. I forgot too already. Holy shit.
Fucking Paul or whatever. Paul Heyman. There we go.
Yeah.
But it was the same.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're all fucked up. But it's the same as the backstage little segment that we had between Paul and Jey earlier. You have Seth here talking to Logan. They're trying to manipulate these guys. I really like the way that they have Seth's delivery in this stuff is really good. He's like a fucking villain or something in a movie with some of the shit that he does. Most guys, when they do their like heel shit, it's really straightforward. They try to be a badass these days. I don't know. It's pretty good, and he's good at what he's doing. And then Paul being in the mix too, it's good stuff, and it just shows that like they're I don't know. It just makes these guys seem like they're thinking, like they're not fucking stupid. Which I feel like it's really hard to portray anybody on wrestling these days without them coming off like they're kind of fucking dumb, right? Like everybody is like that way.
Yeah, essentially they don't do. They pretty much make the faces look stupid. But anyway, the backstage segment was good. It did what it needed to do. Also, they need to stop doing this in between entrances and commercials and shit. Because I'm sure that this whole time Becky Lynch is just standing in the ring and her music's probably still fucking going while everybody's like in the crowd. What's going on here? Why are we still getting Becky Lynch entrance music for like 5 minutes here? What the fuck? But and then while all that is happening that we just talked about with the backstage segment, you see the New Day walking through the back of the image with Austin Theory. Who knows what they're up to? But, they don't just stick dudes on camera for nothing most of the time. But so then we get back in and the match is coming. And so you want to take us into it, or would you like me to?
I got it. So Money in the Bank qualifier, triple threat match. Becky Lynch versus Natalya versus Roxanne Perez. Becky tries to recruit Perez, but then turns on her. It's funny. She tried to do the classic
typical heel shit.
Yeah, but then she threw her out. Perez knocks Lynch on the outside. Natalya nearly scores a quick roll up. Early chain wrestling and fast counters between Perez and Lynch. Perez nearly locks in a crossface, but Natalya breaks it up with the drop kick. Then we go kind of around the mid-match point. Natalya hits back-to-back snap suplexes on Lynch, applies a Mexican surfboard, transitions into a sharpshooter attempt. Lynch counters with a disarm her. That move sounds terrible. Never been a fan, but Perez hits a Hurricane Rana DDT. Lynch calls out Roxy as Perez misses her cue before landing a suicide dive onto both opponents. I missed that. Was that actually something legit that happened?
Yeah. So there was a spot in the match where Becky goes out and Roxanne's already out, and Roxanne was kind of supposed to, I'm assuming, be in a little faster.
Yeah.
And you could audibly hear Becky calling it for her to run into the ring real quick and be able to work this. But it's okay, growing pains. She just got up to the main roster, and that was the only wonky spot in the whole otherwise pretty good match.
If that's the only problem, then it's an improvement from the usual chick matches that they had with the old bunch of women that they had. I'm not even trying to shit on anybody. It's just the effort put into training these girls is higher than ever. So of course the product would come out better with them on it. But Perez hits a string of uppercuts and head scissor takedowns. Natalya cuts off the momentum with a discus double clothesline. Perez lands a double moonsault on both women for a near fall. Becky hits a manhandle slam on Perez. Natalya breaks it up. Natalya hits a superplex, then a double sharpshooter on both women. They reach the ropes. Lynch hits a manhandle slam on Natalya, but is pulled out of the ring by Lyra Valkyria. Yep, so she came in, pulled her out.
Let's go.
And then Perez capitalizes, hitting pop rocks on Natalya for the win. That was it. Roxanne Perez via pinfall. She pinned Natalya. It's probably the result that you might have expected, but at least Becky's not like winning these matches, and she's actually like putting some of the chicks over. I'm sure she'll have her time again,
right?
But
there's that whole Becky Hogan thing that everybody always likes to talk about. So it's not very Hogan-like to be putting over young new talent. So
yeah, well, she can lose a lot and still just win the title one time and still just be as relevant as ever. But I mean, I know you're not going to have much to really say about this, right? I mean, it's just a decent little chick match, and nothing really too bad happened, like that one spot that we said. But beyond that, it was all right.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. I like all of the people that are in it. It was cool to see Natty back on TV, and glad that Roxanne's on the main roster. Been waiting for that for a while, and here we are. And Becky's Becky. And we're going to jump into the next segment, which is a backstage piece with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Jey Uso is shown backstage staring at his title. Sami walks up and reassures him, says he'll handle Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker at Saturday night's main event. Tells Jey, I got your back. They slap hands and embrace, dapping up to each other, showing unity and respect. And, just a small little bit of further in the story, kind of like what we've been doing the whole time here.
Yeah, the other two segments.
Yep. And it was what it was. Do you have anything that you really want to add there? Or you want to just hop onto the...
Sami's, like I've been saying, Jay's been good, but Sami Zayn's he's the man in this role. It's awesome. I'm glad that he's featured prominently in position on Mondays in the role that he's doing, and it's good shit, and he'll be out there helping later tonight, so it's not much really further to add. Just I liked it.
Nope.
But we'll move on to the next one here. It's a singles match with Sheamus versus Grayson Waller with Austin Theory. I don't feel like there's really too much to say here, so we'll just go over it. But Waller tries...
we can gloss over it a little bit,
Well, Waller tries some mind games earlier. Slaps Sheamus and runs. This is a really hard-hitting match like Sheamus has been having. He hits the Irish Curse Breaker, tosses the guy around the ring. Theory distracts Sheamus at ringside, allowing a Waller to smash Sheamus into the ring post. Mid-match, we're back from commercial. Waller's holding control, hitting a Rolling Thunder flatliner for a near fall. Sheamus fires back with a huge knee strike, tilt-a-whirl power slam, and the camel clutch, his usual shit. Waller momentarily gains control with the big forearm, attempting the 10 beats of the beatdown or whatever the fuck it is himself, but Sheamus blocks it. And in the end, Sheamus attempted a white noise on the apron, missed time, fell to the floor, regained control, dragged Waller back up, finally lands at 10 beats of the whatever, and Theory catches watches in belief. The crowd erupts as Sheamus hits the bro kick and secures the pin. I don't know, I don't need to see Sheamus anymore. Give that fucking time to somebody else. Like, that guy's translucent. He reflects light.
He's in better shape than he was, though. Remember when he first came back? He was...
I don't really give a fuck what shape he's in. He could be Mr. Olympia for all I fucking care. He's a talented guy, but it's just like, enough's enough. When the fuck is this guy going to get away from me? And the TV, and maybe you could just give me some other pale guy. It doesn't fucking matter.
He's going to be there until he's like 50, probably. I think we got probably like 4 or 5 more years of him.
Yeah, well, that'll be nice. Hopefully he is happy in life after that and gets plenty of money from him. And I mean, no hate on the guy. It's like me. If like I went and I was eating fucking steak every night, eventually I'd be like, man, I don't want this fucking shit anymore. Right?
Right.
But
that's true.
What'd you think? Anything crazy?
I mean, it was an all right match. It advanced the story of what they're trying to do with Waller and Theory, I suppose. Sheamus looked as good as he always looks. He did the Sheamus things. He got in his shit, as the kids say.
The crowd was into it, though. He beats the shit out of these guys, and the crowd is really into it. I mean, who am I to judge? Or I'm just talking from my personal aspect, and I'm not shitting on the guy's talent. He's still there for a reason.
Wish they'd switch him back to his old music. I don't know. Maybe I haven't been paying that much attention when he was coming out before. I don't know how long he's been using this current entrance music, but that shit sucks. Give him his old shit back.
I don't really pay any attention to that. Every time I'm just like blinded by the light, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But anyway,
go ahead and move on to the next situation that may have blinded you here.
We're getting more backstage shit. And, it feels like most of the show is backstage these days. Yeah, more so than in the ring or on the stage or whatever. It's all backstage.
It's just they got the show Saturday that they're trying to put together, and they're really trying to make the main event seem like a big deal. And that's one of the things, like, I'm not saying this is the way to go 100%, and I'm just some fucking guy, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Dave, for a second. I'll let you get right back to it. But it's just like, the matches don't feel important in AEW, and then like these ones kind of do. It's not saying the match quality is the same in both companies, because it's not, but the build and the overall hype for the matches are always completely different.
Yep. That's a very astute assessment of what's going on with the match building. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But so we go backstage. We got Kathy Kelly interviewing Gunther, and they were interrupted by TJ's favorite, Seth freaking Rollins. And Rollins sarcastically compliments Gunther. He says what he did as world heavyweight champion was pretty good, and calls him a pretty good champ. The old backhanded compliment stuff. Gunther fires back that Rollins is short-sighted for a so-called visionary, and declares that he is the future of the WWE. Rollins drops the sarcasm, and he says that he came there out of professional courtesy, thinking he once respected Gunther. So what, did he all of a sudden lose respect for Gunther because he had a backbone and stood up for himself instead of just bending over when the dude came over talking shit to him? What? Anyway, he warns Gunther that if he becomes a champion, he'll be targeted like everybody else. And Gunther coolly replies, "Please, I cannot wait. In fact, I'm eagerly awaiting." And then Gunther walks off, leaving Seth Rollins stewing. He's not happy that Gunther didn't just fold up like a lawn chair. And yeah. What did you think of this interaction, TJ?
I mean, just another link in the main event scene, and all these guys' stories being intertwined, right? So,
yep.
I mean,
it's this is what we were talking about the multi-layer storytelling earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gunther and Seth, and so it was good. I enjoyed it. It's nothing really shit on here. I don't know the right way to put this, but it wasn't 100% as good as the other stuff, because Gunther, I still feel like, has a little bit to go with his shit, but he's still really good on the mic and everything. But overall, this is good stuff. They keep furthering shit that they're doing, and I don't know. We'll go ahead and move on. It was pretty decent. But we got the Money in the Bank qualifying match here. This is a short one here. Triple threat. Rhea Ripley versus Zoey Stark versus Kairi Sane. Match opens up.
The Pirate Princess is back, dude.
I didn't know that existed. Match opens. I know now, but I'm saying I didn't before this. But the match opens up with fast-paced offense from all three competitors. Zoey Stark targets Kairi early, but is interrupted by Ripley. Stark and Ripley exchange roll-ups before Ripley hits a drop kick. Sane jumps on Ripley's back but gets thrown off. Sane tries to build momentum, but knocking Rhea back and hitting the ropes. Zoey Stark attempts a springboard missile drop kick, but lands awkwardly on her knee. Yeah, Stark is visibly in pain and yells out. Match comes to a halt, and they end up going and looking at the briefcase, and then it just goes to commercial. But a little bit right before that, you saw the medical staff jump in and everything, and the match resumed as a singles bout between Ripley and Sane. After all that and everything went back, Ripley dominates early, hitting a fallaway slam for a near fall. attempts a prism trap, but Sane escapes. Sane rallies with a top rope headbutt and a forearm strike. Ripley absorbs the offense and drop kicks Sane midair on a diving headbutt. Sane's knees appear to hit Ripley in the head on the way down. Sane goes for an insane elbow, but Ripley gets her knees up. Both women trade blows from their knees. Ripley ends it with a headbutt and a riptide. You kind of, I don't know. It says that both women trade blows from their knees. You tell me that sounds questionable to me. I don't know who they may be doing that to. But
I don't know who did that edit. I don't know.
It was probably one of my dogs, but Ripley ends it with a headbutt and a riptide. And this is all right. There's not much to say here. This isn't what we were supposed to see, and it was the same result, but not much of a match to really talk about. And she's fucking going to be gone for like 8 months.
Real bummer about Zoey. Yeah,
any knee injuries, serious.
You always hate to see any competitor have this happen, and man, the way that you could hear her yelling out in pain, it wasn't great. And you keep seeing all these blogs, and everybody's showing the picture over and over again, and fucking the video, and we're not going to show it. You could see it out there, but man, that it looked pretty bad. I don't want to perpetuate showing that. It's not great. That could potentially be like a career-ending injury. So
she'll probably it might just have to adjust her style a little bit. I mean, people come back. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's probably like an ACL or MCL type thing or whatever those knee ligaments are.
Hopefully, it's just a hyperextension and it's not anything bad. And she was just in like a. But I don't know. They anytime that they bring the cameras off of the ring, like onto the crowd or focusing on something else, it's not good.
Yeah, they don't want you seeing it.
Speedy recovery to Zoey, and we're going to move on here. We're going to the Judgment Day Clubhouse.
Oh man, it's just some room.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine, if you will, that every arena that you go to, you have a clubhouse. That'd probably be pretty cool. But anyway, we got Dirty Dom, Raquel Rodriguez, JD, and Carlito hanging out, and Finn Balor walks in with our girl, Roxanne Perez. Balor introduces Roxanne as the newest potential member of the Judgment Day and says that while Liv and Rodriguez have no backup, they do. He's explaining to, Raquel that the guys can have each other's back, but they can't be out there helping her beat up girls, essentially, so they need another girl in the group. And it makes sense. And Perez clarifies that she's not a member yet. She's just trying to find her place on Raw, and that she brought some gifts. She's got a big old box of nuggies for Dom and a bag with an apple for Carlito. And Raquel is not amused, and she tells Perez to leave, clearly annoyed and pissed off. And she warns Balor, Liv will hear about this. And Balor smirks and replies, "Oh, I can't wait." This was a pretty good little segment, and it's cool that they're throwing Roxanne in a fairly prominent storyline immediately. She just won Money in the Bank, and now she's involved in this. Clearly, they have a lot of faith in her. And what'd you think of this little backstage segment?
Yeah, it was funny. Like, you see the way Dom was looking at her.
He was eyeing her up, man.
He's gonna get hungry for a side piece, but not chicken nuggets as the side piece, if you know what I mean. Then that's gonna cause like some problems with them, and Finn's probably doing that intentionally, and it's hard to tell. Of course. He's gonna try to sabotage the group from within. It should be good. They've been hinting at this shit for a while, and it's interesting that this is probably going to be the path that they take to make that happen.
I mean, Judgment Day has been a thing for years now. It started with fucking Edge.
Yeah.
How long ago? Like 21 or 22 at this point?
Yeah, and they turned on him.
Yeah. But that was a pretty cool match. Damian Priest and Rhea versus him and Beth Phoenix.
I never saw it. Sorry, excuse me.
Oh. Well, yeah, you probably weren't watching then.
No, never. At least at that point.
Anyway. We take us into the main event there, TJ.
World Heavyweight Champion main event: Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker, with Paul Heyman at ringside. So pre-match.
Wait, who is it?
I don't know. Paul Heyman? Jey Uso. But Jey Uso hypes the crowd up in the arena, makes his entrance to a thunderous ovation. Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Oh.
So the match started.
To run it back? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Uso opened fast, landing punches and hitting a diving plancha to the outside. Breaker regains control, applying a headlock, then drilling Uso with a lightning-fast clothesline. Heyman watches on approvingly at ringside. Mid-match highlights. Breaker hits an overhand belly-to-belly, nearly spiking Uso. Uso fires back with a hip attack, pop-up Samoan drop, and a super kick for a near fall. Breaker answers with a Frankensteiner from the top rope with another close near fall. And then in the final moments of the match, Jey Uso lines up a spear, but Heyman distracts him from the apron. Breaker grabs a steel chair. Uso super kicks him before he can use it. The referee tosses the chair aside, and Heyman grabs Uso's leg. After Uso goes after Heyman and is ambushed by Seth Rollins. So it was the disqualifications due to Rollins attacking Uso. You could tell Paul was getting all nervous, like he couldn't believe that Jey was like hanging with Breaker, even though they've already like beaten each other. It's kind of weird, but this is their third match, so it's 2-1. I'm pretty sure, but this one was ended in a DQ, so it's not as definitive as their other matches.
Yeah, that doesn't really count. It might as well be a split decision or something.
But post-match, Rollins and Breaker double-team Uso until Sami Zayn hits the ramp. As Zayn teases entering, the crowd erupts into a CM Punk chant. CM Punk returns, and the crowd sings along with his theme. He got like a really big pop here. It's one of the biggest I've heard in a while. This crowd was like really into fucking CM Punk. I was telling my wife, I didn't think South Carolina was a CM Punk state, or Greenville was a CM Punk town, but I guess it is. But Punk
his music stopped, and they were still singing his song as they were standing on the apron. They sang them into the ring as they started fighting.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, Punk and Zayn cleared the ring, but Breaker retaliates with a punch. Rollins and Breaker brawl with Zayn and Punk through the crowd. Back in the ring, Jey Uso recovers and grabs his title. Suddenly, Logan Paul appears and knocks out Jey Uso with a loaded right hand. Paul smiles through a bleeding tooth as Raw goes off the air, and not Paul Heyman. That was Logan Paul. It's didn't want anybody to get confused since we got two of them out there. But it was a good match. I gotta take a drink of water, but tell me what you thought about this.
Oh, you're good. It was a good episode. I was pretty happy with this week of Raw. I saw some places that were kind of critical of how good this week was or wasn't. I thought this was a good episode. The friend group kind of had the general consensus that this was good this week. It told all the stories it needed to. The pop that Punk got when he came out was just huge. It was deafening. Like you could hear it in the microphones of the announcers when they were announcing. And that's hard to do now. So that was big. I probably haven't heard a pop like that since the Attitude Era. I'm sure that's probably hyperbolic in there, but I mean, that was a crazy pop.
Yeah, it's what is?
They were hot the whole night. They were kind of like. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll get this last thought out, and then it's all yours. They rivaled the overseas crowds.
Yeah, they were really into it. It's like what's the biggest fumble in wrestling in like the past 3 years?
Punk.
What specifically?
AEW losing Punk.
Yeah, well, I mean, just whatever the fuck happened, but them not having him right now, man, that is. Could you imagine him doing that for them over there?
Yep.
Yeah,
they'd be doing a lot better than what they currently are.
Yep. I don't know. Maybe the Bucks will turn it around for him. Hopefully, 5 years in. It's there's still some hope.
Yeah, they're about to get there. Don't worry. But that was Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah,
I actually fell asleep while I was going on, so I had to like rewatch the two last matches, and they were good because I was a little bit less distracted than I might be some nights, and I just sat there and watched them. I remember you said that injury happened, so I went back and watched that too because it was one of the matches that I missed. But yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it, and we can go ahead and move on to this news that we got going on here. Got a couple news.
This
updates.
was a little bit being a Tampa guy, even though I wasn't going to go to the Tuesday NXT. They canceled the NXT Live on the CW in Tampa event, so that would have been the normal Tuesday episode of NXT. I assume that they're just going to do it back in Orlando where they usually would. But WWE NXT Live on the CW was canceled for Tuesday, May 27th at the Yuengling Center in Tampa. That's also where they're going to have the NXT Battleground on Saturday and the Saturday night's main event, and then Monday Night Raw. So, there's a lot of goings on there this weekend. I guess they're not that one. It says that they sold approximately 1,700 tickets according to WrestleTix, which is, not very great considering that the rest of the shows, are near sellouts. And even the NXT pay-per-view Battleground has like 6,000 tickets sold out. So, I mean, I think it's like a 8,000, 9,000 person venue. I mean, I've been to the Yuengling Center quite a bit. The last time I was there, I saw Tool, but I haven't been there for wrestling in a while. But yeah, no official reason has been announced for the cancellation as of yet. But we're all assuming it's low ticket sales. It is what it is. What do you think about that, TJ? Was that something that you even knew about, or is this news to you?
I mean, I read about it. I figured that they should have probably just kept it going, and they would have definitely that week ended up filling at a good amount. Especially
I mean, everything's so expensive now.
Priced it right, like get some people in there, sell some merch, like whatever happened to doing that kind of thing. They're not willing to take the hint of losing money. They would rather cancel an event than waste, in their eyes, taking shit to that fucking place that night.
I mean, if they didn't sell a lot of tickets, then they risk it looking like shit on TV, though. But it's NXT.
Yeah, who cares?
No offense to NXT, but you're not selling out a 10,000 person or 9,000 person venue for a Tuesday night NXT taping. This is what it is.
Yeah, not really.
So yeah, take us into the next bit of news.
The AEW Collision viewership for the Beach Break episode. I'm going to struggle with that till the end of the time, saying those two words back to back. Beach Break. It's fine once you say it one time, but the first time it's not working. But Collision returned to its
Beach Break.
Yeah, its normal Saturday time slot on TNT. It's been switching a lot lately. Viewership was 398K, up for 382K. Last Thursday per WrestleNomics, the key demo 18 to 49 was a 0.08 rating, slightly down from last week's 0.09. The episode featured the Beach Break theme and included a tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael. This was taped Wednesday. They did both Dynamite and Collision, the Beach Break themed episodes that Wednesday. It was ranked number 9 on cable for the night in the key demo.
That's respectable.
Yeah, not too bad, I guess. The broadcast ended abruptly across the U.S. due to an 87-minute runtime, which likely impacted the final viewership data. There's still no official word as to what happened, and the complete episode is still not able to be streamed on Max. I think it's on like the TNT streaming thing, but it's strange, I was reading earlier that old Uncle Dave and a whole bunch of the fucking wrestling journalism guys out there are trying to find out what happened, and they've been asking questions, and I guess Tony's not willing to get out the answer, or just is saying that he doesn't know, or that it was sorry, I'm not saying that he doesn't know. He was saying that it was some kind of weird technical glitch that he doesn't know about, I think is what they're saying, and you figure that he would already have the answers by now, so he could give you a more specific thing of what happened, but he can't even do that. And it's just somewhat questionable, and it's really strange that they just filmed Black Adam too. Somebody set that up like that, and they should have known beforehand that was going to happen. Those things are programmed; they're not happening out of nowhere. So there's definitely something going on there, and like I said, people were trying to find out, and nobody can get a real answer. And it's strange because could you imagine fucking watching Raw or even SmackDown and it just cuts off early and they just put like some Marvel or DC movie on?
But yeah, I thought it was like an extended commercial or something. We talked about this the other day.
Man, this is one of the longest commercials I've ever seen.
But I just figured that they were doing a extended commercial break because they were going to do the rest of the show commercial free or something.
My stepdaughter was up in her room and she watches Collision when she goes to sleep on Saturdays. And when Collision ends, it like has like some weird like aura noise, like woo, and like a water drip noise. And I could have swore that I kept hearing that. And then like eventually when mine went off, I was like, I was fucking hearing that. And then I started looking up online.
I'll tell you what, everybody. A lot of people fall asleep to Collision on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's definitely been me here and there. I'm definitely guilty of that, but it's pretty strange. But we're gonna hold on. If we have any updates on this, we're gonna let you guys know. And if there's any way that we could figure it out, which there's not, we will try to do that too. But when we know, you will know through us. So just be looking forward to that if it pops up and is something that you're interested in. But we can go ahead and move on from the case of the missing 30 minutes. And about it on that one, right?
Yep. There was kind of a 2-in-1 news segment there. Yeah. The viewership and then the missing stuff. It says that why am I dumbassing out here? That Collision airs live with a full runtime. Sunday, fans began to notice that the Max version was incomplete.
Yeah, it's still not on there. That's one of the things.
Still not on there.
Because usually it would be on, like, it's funny, now we're not moving on to the thing we're talking about a little bit more, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're good. But yeah, normally it would be on there by now. Like, I always thought it was the next day, and it wasn't. Yeah. And there's something up. Like, what happened? You know, it's.
And we don't know if the UK version on ITV is going to be complete yet or not. So still some questions. We don't know why the Max version is incomplete. We don't know what version the UK is going to get. And, this kind of raises some serious questions about AEW's media distribution strategy. And, it just... this shit can't really happen normally. I don't know. Hopefully we'll know what's going on.
They've had a lot of technical glitches and audio problems and weird shit happen throughout the years, and this one takes the cake.
I mean, they've never had the show end like this,
and then they start showing something else. Like it's one thing if a show goes black and it ends, and they keep but there was something else in place there. It's strange.
Well, I mean, they have redundancies like on networks. Like if a show cuts out something to play.
I know, but it's just strange. Like it was immediate after that commercial, and the commercials don't start at the time that this show started. Like it wasn't on the 30 minutes or the hour. But let's go ahead and move on from that. Like I said, any updates, we'll let you guys know.
So that's basically it for today's episode. We're gonna get on out of here. The next episode will be us talking about Dynamite from this week, the 5/21/25 edition of that, and we'll probably have some news or something else to talk about. It's either going to be news or some kind of historical thing. You'll have to tune in to find out. Don't forget to follow us at all of our socials at OverMark ENT. And thanks for listening, Overmaniacs, and we'll see you guys next time. Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night.